Good evening, good evening to listeners of Win FM 98.9. Welcome to another edition of On the Ball right here on Win FM 98.9. I am Troy Biff Mills, your host, and I say good evening to everyone in the Leeward Islands, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the OECS, and the Caribbean. And good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morning to you, wherever you are in your corner of the world. This is another edition of On the Ball, heard on Win FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. with yours truly. And boy, have we got an action-packed weekend for you this evening. And I must say, out of the block, we are going to be having Dr. Keith Shallow, President of Cricket West Indies. He's going to be, well, we would have liked him to be here in person. He was here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He was in St. Kitts for the female cricket when it started, but he's an extremely busy man, and we made contact. He couldn't make it while he is here. He was here, and he promised that he would be here tonight, and we have confirmed that he will be here. So even before he comes, we say thank you. He's an extremely busy man, and we're going to be having him for just about an hour, from about 8 o'clock to 8:55. 8:55, we start the wrap-up sequences. And according to how it goes, I don't know if the management and my producer, Jamster, will give me a few more minutes. I'll have to ask kindly. But we're expecting a very active discussion. A lot of cricket happening here in St. Kitts at the moment. But hey, it's not about St. Kitts. It's not about only cricket. We are going to be having all kinds of things. And let us start off with a little bit. I'm going to play you something here. I'm looking for it. Here it is. Come to the front. And it is clean. You don't have to worry. And here we go.
Well, all kind of monkey tricks them play. Just so that Sems could get no sway. Them move the championships to Nevis to give them a chance to beat us. But Sems say, wait, what fraud is this? And fling them straight to the back of the bus. For 2 days they dominate the medal table, thinking that Sems Eagles wasn't able. Them never know we've been playing hoop to linger in the sky and then make we swoop. Which part me Nevis friend them be? All of a sudden, them me not see. But Sems knock the wind out of them sail and make every one of them lap them tail. So, right now in Anguilla, me celebrate me Sems victory. Me did always know they can't mess with our we. Cause since my time, we been dominating the track. And all when they cheat, we turn up the heat. And she blows licks in the backside whenever we come back. So, congratulations to me alma mater, me school. For much more years we are going to rule. Neither Charleston, Gingerland, Basti, Hoy, Washi, Hoy, Cairn, Hoy, all kind of Hoy go make us frighten. We belts we are going to tighten and keep on soaring high up in the sky. Why you say? Sems got tricks? Man, hush him out, man, and take all your licks.
Boy, this young lady got chats, boy. I wonder who she be, where she from. Oh, yes, man. No doubt she from SP, where the best be. I say a very, very big thank you to Michelle Queely. Actually, she's married. I don't remember her married name. And please, I apologize, Michelle. But a very dramatic presentation. And she's all the way in Anguilla. And she sent this to us as part of her celebrations for Charles E. Mills Secondary School, winning this year's edition of the TDC Inter High School Championship. And how did that work out? At the end of day one, Jamster, Virtuals High, 1 silver, 2 bronze medals. Bastia High, and they were in the cellar position. 8th. Bastia High, 7th. 2 silver, 5 bronze. Charles E. Mills, 6th. 1 gold, 8 silver, 4 bronze medals. And Jamster, what a celebration that was. The whole of St. Kitts and Nevis shouting for Sandy Point. They were glad for Sems, eh? But they don't realize, in races, you got to give people away, and the racing for the Swift. And this is at the end of the first day. Washington Archibald High, they were in 5th, 3 golds. Forgive me, Keon, they were in, where are we? Yes, Keon, they were in 5th. 2 golds only. Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, they were in 4th. 2 gold, 1 bronze. Washington Archibald High, they were in 3rd. 2 gold, 2 silver. Gingerland Secondary School, they were in 2nd. 3 golds, 1 silver. And Charlestown Secondary School, they were in the top of the tables at the end of day 1. 4 gold medals, 2 silver, 2 bronze. At the end of the second day, there were a little bit of changes. We had Virtuals High, the Bright Star in the West. They had dropped down to the cellar position with 1 silver, 1 gold. In 7th, we had Bastia High, 3 silvers, 7 bronze. Keon, they had dropped to 6th, 3 gold, 2 silvers. Washington Archibald High School, they dropped to 5th with 3 silvers, 3 gold, 2 silvers, 2 bronze. Clarence Fitzroy Bryan, they found themselves in 4th place with 3 gold, 3 silvers, and 1 bronze. Charles E. Mills Secondary School, the defending champion. No, let me correct that. The defending back to back. Boy, Jamster tired. I got to take a break. Back to back. 7-peat. They were now in 3rd place. They called themselves up to 3rd place with 4 gold, 10 silver, and 8 bronze. And the party continued. And then Gingerland Secondary School, they were holding strain in 2nd with 5 gold medals, 1 silver. And Charlestown, they did well. They held on to the lead for 2 whole straight days. 5 gold, 4 silvers, and 3 bronze medals. And boy, oh boy, did the action fly. On day 3, at the end of day 3, Clarence Fitzroy Bryan, they found themselves in the 8th position, the cellar position. 5 gold, 4 bronze, and 4 silver, 2 bronze. Keon High, they were in 7th, and I need some clarification. How come both of them had the same number of medals? And no doubt there were other criteria. But Keon High, they had 5 gold, 4 silver, 2 bronze. In 6th, the Bright Star from the West. I guess because it was daytime and nighttime, the Bright Star, or maybe it was a heavy cloud cover, so the Bright Star in the West didn't really shine. 5 gold, 5 silver, 7 bronze. Gingerland Secondary School, they had now slipped down to 5th. 7 gold, 4 silver, 5 bronze medals. Washington Archibald High in 4th, 7 gold, 5 silver, 5 bronze. Bastia High, the birthplace of champions. And this is what true grit is all about. They clawed their way up to 3rd place. 8 gold, 8 silver, 15 bronze. I see Jamster over here grinning from ear to ear and clapping. It's Bastia High, that's your alma mater, Jamster? Boy, a Jamster boy, yeah. Jamsters, he's celebrating that. And Charlestown Secondary School, they slid. Let me be kind. They slid to 2nd place. I wouldn't say Charles E. Mills Secondary School Eagles forced them into 2nd. The Lions, perhaps they had the last meal and something was stuck in the teeth, so they started losing some of their roaring ability. And I must compliment the teacher, the principal there. She really did an excellent job, and I'm saying this with all my heart. She did an excellent job to motivate Charlestown Secondary School. And I dare say, perhaps it's because of some videos I saw of her getting on and going on and really motivating her school. I believe that helped to bring out the spirit, bring out the contest, bring out the fire in the other schools. So congratulations, ma'am. By the end of the third day, Charlestown Secondary, they had 9 gold, 15 silver, 3 bronze. And I think at this point, it was clear. There was no contest. Charles E. Mills Secondary School, 16 gold, 18 silver, 13 bronze. And basically, well, boy, that was almost the beginning of the end. And then at the end of it all, the end of day 4, it was, well, all she wrote from some day before. And where is this? If here you are. Keon High, they occupied the cellar position, number 8. And they're from constituency 8, so maybe that's right, I don't know. 5 gold, 8 silver, 6 bronze medals. That's the tally for Keon High School out of Green Valley. Clarence Fitzroy Bryant, 7 gold medals, 4 silver, 4 bronze. And I have to pause and tap my hat to Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. I think I need to put that into perspective. Remember, all the high schools have from first form to fifth form, except 2 schools. Charlestown Secondary School, they have first form up to 6th form. And Clarence Bryant College, CFBC, let me categorize it by age. They just have under 20 athletes. They don't have under 17, under 19, under 15, under 13, etc. They just have under 20. Because remember, when the athletes from Sems and Keon and Washi and Basti High and Convent, etc., when they finish their schooling, when they graduate, they then go to CFBC. So CFBC, they open all the athletes, all the talents, all the skills with wide open arms and take them. And that is how it used to be way back when Basti High School, when 6th form here in St. Kitts was attached to the Basti High School. Basti High, they would have dominated it in the earlier clock in the 70s when it started. And they would have been getting some stiff competition. But they would have run things because they had that senior class 1, as it were, back then category. But now there's a situation and there's some discussion, there's some debate whether or not 6th form in Nevis should really be competing as an attachment as part of Charlestown Secondary School. Whether they are the same institution, 2 separate institutions, even though they are in the same compound. But there's a lot of politics in there that the schools and the education system and SKN athletics, they will have to sort out that. But for now, the 6th form is attached. So where were we now? CFBC. 6th place, Virtuals High School, the Bright Star in the West. They ended the championship in, that's going to be 6th. 9 gold, 10 silver, 14 bronze. Gingerland Secondary School, they were 5th. 11 gold, 8 silver, 9 bronze medals. 4th was Washington Archibald High School. And Washi won this thing a few years back, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they displaced Sems, and they were back to back, and with the foulness about they're going for 3-peat. I don't think they got there. I think Sems came back, and Sems took a break, and Sems showed them how to run things, and Sems came back and won again. But they were 4th Washi, the Washi Wildcats here. 14 gold medals, 6 silver, 7 bronze. The birthplace of champions, Basti High. 14 gold medals, 15 silver, 20 bronze, and they were 3rd. Charlestown Secondary School, they held their own throughout the competition, but they just weren't strong enough for the Sems Eagles. So Charlestown Secondary came in 2nd with 16 gold medals, 24 silver, and 16 bronze, while Charles Mills Secondary School ran away with it all. 25 gold medals, 28 silver, and 15 bronze. So that is something like 25, 40, 68 medals SEMS would have won. But remember, the winner is determined by the school leading with the highest number of gold medals. If there's a tie, you go down to silver. And if there's a tie, you go down to the number of bronze. And yes, SEMS won. But if we analyze it, one, they did get 68 medals. Last year when they won, they only got 62 medals. Charlestown Secondary High, they got 56 medals this year. But last year when they were second as well, they got 53. Last year, 2023, Virchels High School, they were third and they had a total of 13 medals, 12 golds. They found themselves, 33 medals. They found themselves with 32. 10, 24, 9, no, Jamster. 24-9 is 33. Yeah, man, I party too much, man, Jamster. The same as they did last year. SEMS, however, notwithstanding they got more medals this year, their number of gold medals actually decreased. Last year they had 34 gold medals. This year they only got 25. Last year they had 17 silver medals. This year they got 28. And you can perhaps see, if you take 11 from here, put it over there, you get 30 plus. So SEMS lost a few more races this year than they did last year. And last year they had 11 bronze medals. This year they got 15. So it's a decrease in the number of goals that SEMS would have gotten this year. And no doubt I expect the coaches from SEMS would look at it to investigate why that happened. Part of it may be because of the Sadler's Secondary School. Some students from Diepbe would now be going to Sadler's. So Sadler's did not compete this year because of the respect they're showing to one of their students, a national junior athlete who actually passed while they were having their sporting activities. And again, we say condolences to his family, his school. So there are quite a few factors. And boy, it was one thing after another. But guess what? We had some records as well. Aldred Nisbet, he set a new record on the 100 meter dash. He shattered the previous record held by Marcus Juberry since 2021, who ran 10.71. This year, Aldred Nisbet representing CFBC. In the under 100 meter dash, he did a time of 2.64. So he did well there from CFBC. And then we go to Kiara Hanley. And it was actually her birthday. And she was of Gingerland Secondary School. And they were known as the GSS Panthers. She clinched gold in the under 100 meter mark. So she had a sensational sprint and she really turned it up. And then we go to Cheshon. I'm hoping I'm calling it right. Chesson Liebert from Virchels High School, the Bright Star in the West. He broke the boys on the 100 meter dash doing a time of 10.68 seconds. And these guys are getting quicker and quicker. And it was not only on the track, but in the pit as well. Kamal Watley of Keon High School, representing Keon High School Falcons. And I like the fact that all the schools had a name, and most of them were birds. You had Keon Lions, Charlestown Lions, but this is Keon High School Falcons, and we know we had SEMS Eagles. He had, in the under 16 male long jump, an impressive 6.64 meters. The previous record of 6.41 was held by Royden Peets since 2016. And then you can't leave out the birthplace of champions, man. No, man, you're forward. Trishana O'Donoghue, representing Basti High School. And in the girls under 14 300-meter hurdles, clocked an impressive 48.67 seconds and really obliterating the previous record set by Shania Samuel in 2023, who ran 49.3 seconds. And we're still not finished yet. Records tumbling. Virtuals high in the under 15 female relay. 4x100, under 18, 4x100 female relay. And the runners were Tyra Charles, Sunny Canley, Nikki Doylan, and Hyan Adams. And they had a time of 49.31 seconds. And they shattered the previous record of 49.75 set by Basti High School last year, 2023. And that really was described as flawless teamwork, like clockwork, smooth. And the major thing about relays is really the baton passing. And where are we now? We calling everybody. Why, something wrong, why? Jamster, I think I got my data wrong. Amaziah Barry of Washington Archibald High School. He had a leap of 5.28 meters in the boys under 14 long jump. And he shattered the record set previously last year, 2023, by Zimari Lewis. His jump was Lewis's jump, 5.23 meters. So I have to lodge a protest. Why? Jumps to something wrong. Nobody from SEMS break a record. So I believe they made a mistake. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we say a very big congratulations to all these persons, these athletes, who not only won, but broke record. We congratulate all the athletes for participating in the Tiddy School 2024 Tiddy Inter-School Championship, Track and Field Championship. All the athletes, especially with making it a historical event, having it in St. Kitts and Nevis. First time that has ever been done. We say congratulations to all the athletes for participating, and especially those who medaled, those who went on the podium, and more especially the gold winners, and even more so the record breakers. We say a very big congratulations to them. It was awesome, and we're now set for the TDC Inter-School Championship, Jamster. Forgive me. That was the TDC Inter-School High School Championship. We're now getting set for the Rams Primary School Inter-Championship, and that is happening down at SP, Wedib SB, the new recreation ground, the Rams Primary School Championship, and it starts this Friday, the 22nd, and goes until Sunday, 24th March. The new Sandy Point Recreation Ground. That's where the action is going to be on this weekend for the Rams Primary School Championship. And Rams, they've been sponsoring this championship for years. So we're going to see the junior version of what happened this weekend. So come on out and support all the athletes, all the primary schoolers. It's going to be an awesome affair. And we really invite people, everybody, to come out. We must congratulate the coaches, the head teachers, and the staff of the various schools for setting their programs to allow the students to participate, and the coaches for the wonderful job they did coaching the house masters and house mistresses and the members of the games committees of the various schools, as well as the parents. We have to commend highly the parents for allowing their children to go, because some parents are telling their children, hey, no, you're not taking it, you're only going to do your academics in school. But we've learned over the years, academics and sport, a deadly combination. Once you do well in both, you're unstoppable. And the communities. The communities played a big part from what I'm hearing and seeing this year. We say congratulations to them. The sponsors. We have the sponsors of the championship, TDC. And I really commend TDC highly for not only sponsoring this year, but for sponsoring 40 plus years of the 50 something years. I don't remember. I think TDC has been there from way back when. I'll have to get my stats right with that. And National Bank, they sponsored the Charles E. Mills Secondary School's Eagles. So on behalf of SEMS, my alma mater, I say thank you very much to National Bank for coming on board and sponsoring the SEMS Eagles. And actually, behind all of this, making all these track and field or sports possible, the Carry Brewery, they were actually sponsoring all the schools. So without their sponsorship for the schools, we would not have had such a massive product, the inter-school championship. So I think kudos are in favor and congratulations and enough thanks to Carry Breweries to the various products that they would have sponsored, the TDC inter-school championship. And boy, Jamster, the action is tight because after this weekend, the inter-school, we are going to be having what is coming up now. The Carifta, after the Rams Primary School, the Carifta games, they are going to be happening, Jamster, on the weekend of the Easter weekend, that is. And Saturday 30th March, remember Friday the 29th, that's Good Friday, to Monday 1st April. Monday 1st is Easter Monday. And all of this is happening down in Grenada. So, Jamster, you buy your ticket already? You need to buy your ticket to go down and support the St. Kitts and Nevis team. Last year, they carried 22 athletes, and they're going to be carrying a little more. And we say congrats to all the athletes who would have made it. So, it's Rams Primary School Championships this weekend, Carifta Games the following weekend. But hey, track and field ain't finished yet, you know. The Mini Olympics, as it is called, Jamsa. The Nevis, the Golf Insurance Primary School Championships, Wednesday the 3rd April at the Nevis Athletic Stadium, the Mundo Track as they call it. That is going to be happening Wednesday 3rd April. And I've never been to one. I really would like it to make it this year, Godspeed. I'm hearing it's an electrifying crowds almost bigger than Culturama Jamster. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to make it. And I think one of the good things that allows this to be such a big meet is the fact that over the years it has been given as a public half holiday in the by the Nevis NIE. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to this year. So that is the calendar when it comes to track and field for the balance. Of course, there are some marquee events coming up down the road, but we'll get into some of that next week. But let's take a break, and we'll be back in the next few seconds. Welcome back to another edition of On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9. I thank you for taking time out to listen us here every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 with your host, Troy Biff Mills. And you can call in at any point and share your views, ask questions, seek clarification. And the number is 466-0989, and you can call in at any point. I remind you that we're having Dr. Kishore Shallow, President of Cricket West Indies. He'll be joining us tonight at 8 o'clock or thereabout via Zoom. So you can be tuning in and be a part of that. And Win FM, we're seeking your partnership in terms of sponsoring On the Ball. So persons, any entity, individual, if you're interested, give us a call at 466-9586. Our marketing department will gladly create a marketing solution, a marketing bundle for your package, as it were. Or you can give me a call, 668-2055. Or you can send me a WhatsApp as well, 668-2055. And we are getting back now to the news. We're going to touch base with some netball. And thinking about netball, I'm thinking about Mr. Dean French, the president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Netball Association, but more so, Mrs. Janet Grell-Hull out of Nevis. I think when she was in her mom's belly, she was probably playing netball. I don't know of anyone with a greater passion for netball than her. She has been holding netball steady, especially over in Nevis. And she represented the Caribbean netball team. I think they went, was it to England, New Zealand, somewhere she toured. And there's another young lady from Nevis, I can't remember her name, but she was the captain of the team also. So good night to you ladies, how are you? Thanks and congrats for keeping the netball going. And I got this article from her. World Netball announces new officiating advisory panel, and it's dated 7th March 2024. World Netball has today, the 7th March, announced that the new members have joined the officiating advisory panel, or the OAP. Garrett Williamson will remain chair of the group, and he will now be joined, or he has been joined, by Alan Anderson, Gareth Fowler, Josh Boring, Dr. Carmetta Docklin, and Joan Giuliani, who have been successfully appointed as members of the OAP. World Netball, that is the international governing body, the world governing body for netball, international. So Dublin's international officiating manager, Christina Barrow, will also remain on the panel. The OAP, that's the officiating advisory panel, is responsible for advising the World Netball CEO and board and working with them to support the development and implementation of agreed priorities in the World Netball Strategic Plan, particularly in development and ratification of policies and supporting the development and implementation of agreed policies and priorities for world-class officiating and outcomes of any WCO reviews. So that is a bit of good news from netball. We say congratulations, and we wish them well. And no doubt we here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are going to be benefiting from them. And there's a Netball Youth Cup that's happening in 2025 in Gibraltar. It's going to be taking place from the 17th, and it's in March, actually. And I am not certain if St. Kitts and Nevis, if we're part of it, if the 17th to the 23rd of March. And I'm not certain if St. Kitts and Nevis are a part of it. We'll have to find out how far they got, how far they're getting, what they'll have to do to get there. I know they would have played some games recently, last year sometime. They went to St. Martin, they went to Antigua and Barbuda. But we'll have netball back on the program. And it so happens that netball, they were the first guests we had on the ball way back in October last year. We had Mr. Dean French, and he had with him a coach out of the United Kingdom who was brought here through the Department of Sport. So we are going to be hearing a little bit about that. We rush over to basketball. 3 things happening in basketball. The junior league, that is coming to an end. And then we have the senior league, that just opened. And then we have the A league, the Premier Senior, and the A, that is also happening. That is coming down to an end as well. So in the first game, I could tell you this, that it was St. Paul's. They overcame Youth and Sports Eagles out of Nevis in game 1. And that was, the game 2 was to be played on Tuesday last week, but there was some rain, so that is actually scheduled for tonight. And that is the feature game tonight at 6:30 p.m. So this game should have already started at Basketball City. An A Division game, Achievers Sports Club, Jayhawks, they are coming up against Harmonites, Hitters, Ballers. And we know the Harmonites dynasty, that stretches back for forever. Way back in the 70s, especially when the youth basketball started. And then at 8 p.m. tonight, game 2 will actually be played. It was to be game 3 if necessary, but game 2, that got rained out on Thursday the 14th, so that will now be played tonight, and we'll have to wait and see if there's going to be a game 3 and when that will be, etc., etc. And in terms of the youth championship, they actually had, we must say, commendations to the clubs and the youngsters who would have participated. Because if we look at, from the youth division, the assists, the top 5, Khalil Ward, SL Horsford, St. Paul's Tough Nuts, 66 assists. We had Veronai Francis, also of Tough Nuts, 48. Shamar Side of Rams Hitters, 47. Nicolan Liebert, Youth and Sports Raiders, 37. And Denroy Williams of Rams Sandy Point Fruit Falcons, 36. In terms of steals, Khalil Ward again, who police say lock him up, of SL Horsford, St. Paul's Tough Nuts, 107 steals. Boy, this guy thief bad. When I say thief, I mean thief the ball in basketball. When you're going with it and all of a sudden somebody push the hand around the card and knock it when take it up gone, you lose the ball. Shamar Sider, he's in things again, Rams Hitters, 68 steals. Tivadi Herbert, SL Horsford, St. Paul's, 59 steals. Veonray Francis, SL Horsford, St. Paul's, 43. I don't know why these people don't get simple names like Tom and Troy and Pat and Jerry and them things, Jamster. You hear these names and no disrespect. I don't know if they're males or females. Kevonte Bedford, Rams, Sandy Point Fruit Falcons, he had 42 steals. And in terms of blocks, well, Tivadi again, Herbert, he's in it. Again, SL Horsford, St. Paul's, 44 blocks. Makari Gums, Rams, Sandy Point Fruit Falcons, 42. Corleon Sargent, Youth and Sports Raiders, 24. Kejani Hodge, Jayhawks, 23. And Jaheim Berridge, Rams Hitters, 17. So that's the blocks, that's the steal. And there were to be some points in terms of the leading shooter, etc. with points. We'll get back to that at some point. And in terms of the league basketball, it is continuing tonight, the 19th, at 6:30 p.m. Jayhawks, they're coming up against Harmonites, Hitters, Ballers, and game 2 of the junior finals between SL Horsford's St. Paul's and Youth and Sports Eagles out of Nevis in the youth division. And come the 31st, the 21st match, Rams Hitters will be coming up against Wolfpack in a Premier League game. And the feature game that night, Farm Kia Boardwalker Prizers will be taking on Keon Lions, who were promoted. The first game at 6:30, the second game at 8 p.m. And we're going to slip over now into some football from the SKNFA. We have some results going on, and boy, a lot of things happening in the football. And we are with the last set of matches that were played, and this would have been from Friday the 15th. Keon, Fluffordgy Keon Rockets, they and Multravine Farms, Clean Rights United, Old Road Jets. They played to a 1-1 draw. And we had on Saturday 16th, Sol Island Otto Connery. They went down 1-0 to Hot Springs Bath United. And that got to hurt because Van Reese Richards, he scored in the 90th minute, Jamster. That's like when the referee is just going to put a whistle to him out to blow off. Tweet and boom! Van Reese put a bulge in the old onion bag. So Connery, Sol Island Otto Connery, they got a 1-0. And then in the feature match, SL Horsford, St. Paul's, they were all over. Development Bank St. Peter's, 3-0. Colanja Clark, he scored in a brace. Malik Clark, 69th minute. And then on Sunday first match, Rams Village Superstars, they were all over Trafalgar South Stars. 4-0 at halftime, the game ended 8-0. And we had braces from Kimari Rogers, Austin Henry, Giovanni Amory. The first one was a penalty. And Devon Elliott and Joseph Wilkes, they also netted. And in the feature game, Honda Newtown United took care of business against Skellig Garden Hotspurs. It was 1-0 in favor of Newtown in halftime, and they doubled it by the end of the game. And if we look at the points standing in the Premier, Trafalgar South Stars, they've lost all 3 matches they have, so they're still in a comb. Skellig Garden Hotspurs in 9th, they've lost all 3 matches as well, but they have a better goal difference. They are -6, whereas South Stars are -13. And goal difference, you subtract the number of goals that was scored against you from the number of goals you scored. So if you scored 5 goals and 2 scored against you, 5 minus 2, so you have a goal difference of +3. Sol Island Connery, 8th. They've drawn 1, lost 2, so they have 1 point. They're in 7th, Fluffordgy Keon Rockets. These guys went to drawing school, man. They are artists. They've drawn all 3 matches, so they have 3 points. Development Bank St. Peter's, they're in 6th position. They've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. So these guys are steady, and they are 4 points in 6th. Montreal Farm, Clean Rights United, Old Road Jets, they're just out the final 4. They are 5th with 5 points, having won 1, drawn 2. And Hot Springs Bath United find themselves sitting 4th. So if the final 4 were to play today, Hot Springs Bath United would be in it. They won 2 and lost 1. They have 6 points. Rams Village Superstars, the defending champions, they too have won 2 and lost 1 with 6 points. However, they have a much superior goal difference of 8 compared to Hot Springs Bath United's 1. Honda Newtown United. This is virgin territory for Honda Newtown United after quite a few years. They've won 2, drawn 1. They have 7 points in 2nd. And out front with a perfect record SL Horsford St. Paul's United winning 3. All 3 they play. They have 9 points. Rams Village Superstars, they are the most prolific scoring team. They've scored 10 goals so far. Skellet Garden Hotspurs, they've scored 1. So maybe we need to put some compass on these guys, the strikers and the half-liners on the foot. And in terms of the stingiest clubs, we have SL Horsford St. Paul's United. They only let in 1. So too did Honda Newtown United. And Honda Newtown United, remember they are under new coach. Their head coach is Jeffrey Pedro Hazel, former technical director, former national coach. So it looked like something is happening, something a keep up in Newtown. And in terms of the leading goal scorers, you guys won't believe this. Let me start the other. Kimari Rogers and of Rams Village Superstars and Kalonji Clark, they are in, as well as Keith Roy Freeman of SL Horsford St. Paul's. Kalonji Clark is also from SL Horsford St. Paul's. They are in second position, scoring 3 goals. Out front, Trafalgar South Stars, Sean Percival. He has 4 goals. Somebody need to visit South Stars, see what's going on. They only score a handful, 5 goals so far for the season. And yet, Sean Percival, he has 4 out of the 5. Something a keep. Something really keep it. And in terms of clean sheets, Development Bank, they have 1. They lost 3-0. Newtown United, they have 2. Well, for Development Bank, the keeper is Kevis Hanley. For Honda Newtown United, it's a Kimber Francis. He had a 1-0. He won 1-0 against Sol Island Connery and a 2-0 against Skelec. We have Rams Village Superstars. Zacchaeus Smith, he had a 2-0 against Hot Spring Bath United and an 8-0 against Trafalgar South Stars. So too does Jamal Jeffers of SL Horsford St. Paul's. 2-0 against Rams Village Superstars. 3-0 against Development Bank St. Peter's. And we've seen 2 yellow cards so far for the season. Brendan Tuckett, SL Horsford St. Paul's against Development Bank St. Peter's. And there's also Alkane Richards of Honda Newtown. Well, he was 2 yellow cards, and he's on the technical side. So that's it from the Premier Division. If we chip on over to the First Division, and their matches are played Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And we look at matches from Tuesday the 12th of March. We had 2 matches. And all the Premier Division matches are played in Warner Park, and all the First Division matches are played at the National Bank Technical Center up at St. Peter's. Molyneux and Mantab played even Steven. 1-1 at the end of first half, 2-2 at the end of second half. Something I keep over Molyneux. In the past, this got to be a new breed Molyneux. In the past, Molyneux's lost a few games by default, get the trouncing 7-8 and a lot of nil. But they defeated Connery Fireballs 1-0 in the opening round. And now they're drawing 2-2 with Mantab. So something I keep in Molyneux. We have to congratulate Coach Kevin and his team. And the second game, I have to watch this to see if this is football. 12-0 at whole dozen. Could you imagine, Jamster? A team take on a whole dozen? Not a half a dozen, not 3/4. A whole dozen. 12-0, Jamster. The final score 5-0 at halftime. So they get a handful halftime and a handful +2 in the second half. Fast Cash Saddlers taking absolute advantage of KFC Trinity Challengers United. I think police need to go look for Fast Cash Saddlers. They ain't supposed to take advantage of people cheering. So we had a hat trick, actually 2 hat tricks in the game. Darius Rollins and one Johnson, they had hat tricks. Shamar Phipps, he had a brace, and that's 3-3-6-8. And the other 4 goals came from Dickwan Watley, Instavan Barnes, Kurt Mills, and Tevon Jones. Oh, okay, Kurt Mills, I understand. He got to be my family jamster. So maybe something rub off from me on him, right? A little bit of skill, a little bit of talent. And those were the matches for Tuesday. Wednesday, boy, jamster, this was a match, you know. End of the first half, 3-0 in favor of Deep Bay. I sure they don't start to open champagne and thing. The final score, 3-3. So imagine a team down 3-0, and whatever the coach and the management say, they had to really motivate their players to come back. 1, shut out the other team so they don't score. 2, score 3 goals. So security forces, they were relegated from the Premier Division last season, along with Jones Sandy Point. And Trans Global Engineering, the Eagles, I think they were relegated the year before. So that was an interesting game. And on Thursday, we had some goals scoring here. Rivers of Living Water, they went down 5-2 to Connery Fireballs International after being 1-1 at half time. And Jones Group Sandy Point, relegated last season, they took care of business against 607 Construction Lodge Patriots 3-1. And if we look at the stats in the first division, the points, all the teams have played 2 matches so far. KFC Trinity Challengers United 10, Rivers 10 position, Rivers of Living Water 9, 607 Construction Lodge Patriots 8. All of them lose the 2 games. Molyneux, there's something is wrong with these stats. Because Molyneux 1-1 and they draw 1. And I'm seeing here in the official stats, Molyneux is losing 1. So if I have to confirm that, Molyneux should be in second with 4 points. But we'll fix that. Sixth, Fast Cast Saddlers United, they've won 1 and drawn 1, lost 1, so they have 3 points. Remember, it's 3 for win, 1 for a draw. So Saddlers, they're in 4th. No, they're in 3rd. Second, 4 teams on second. Mantab, Trans Global Engineering, Deep Bay Eagles, Security Forces. And by the results that happened, I'll say Molyneux, yeah, they took care of Connery 3-1 and they draw with Mantab. All on 4 points with 1 win, 1 victory. Mantab, they are in 5th actually, because though they are on 4 points in second position, they have 3rd, 4th still coming down. 4 points, a goal difference of 2, scoring 4, giving up 2. Trans Global Eagles, they have 4 points, goal difference of 6, scoring 9, giving up 3. Security Forces United, goal difference of 8, scoring 11, giving up 3. In second, we have Connery Fireball International on 6 points, along with Jones Group Sandy Point in first. However, Connery, they have a goal difference of 6, having scored 8 and given up 2. Jones Group Sandy Point, they've scored 9 and given up 2, so they have a goal difference of 7. And in terms of goals, we have Ronaldo Matthew of Trans Global Engineering Deep Bay. He has 4 goals. Jawanza Patrick of Connery Fireballs, 3. Darius Rollins, Ron Johnson of Fast Cash Saddles, 3. Shaquan Pemberton of Jones Group Sandy Point, 3. Those are the top contenders, along with Dion Dolphin of Security Forces. All of them out there so far on that. And in upcoming games, we're going to be having KFC Trinity Challengers United versus Molyneux on Tuesday the 19th at 6 p.m. At 8 p.m. of that doubleheader, Rivers of Living Water versus Mantab. Wednesday the 20th, Davis Construction Lodge Patriots versus Security Forces at 7. One game only. Thursday 21st, 6 p.m., Trans Global Engineering Day Bay Eagles against Connery Fireballs International at 6. And at 8, Jones Group Sandy Point clashing with Fast Cash Saddlers United. All of that happening up there at the National Bank complex, football complex up at St. Peter's. We're now going to take a break, and we are going to have with us next when we come back the president of Cricket West Indies, Dr. Kishore Shallow. So stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. And we will be right back in a second. Welcome back to another edition of On the Ball here at WinFM 98.9. I am Troy Biff Mills, your host, and I thank you for joining us tonight. On the Ball is heard here at WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. And the line's 466-0989. And of course, if you want to come on board and partner with us to sponsor On the Ball, give our marketing department a call, 466-9586, and they'll be able to work out a solution, a package for you. Be you an individual, a small company, big company, anything. We'll be able to, no matter what area of the corporate community you are, we'll be able to work out something for you. Or you can give me a call or send me a WhatsApp, Troy Biff Mills 668-2055. Right now, a lot of cricket playing in St. Kitts and Nevis. We've had the female 50 over Super 50, and we're now having the T20 Blaze. Leeward Islands went down after defeating Barbados on Monday. They went down today and oh boy, to Trinidad and Tobago. But that is it. You win some, you lose some. But we have the head honcho here on the line with us. He's on Zoom. The president of Cricket West Indies, Dr. Keith Shallow. Good evening, Dr. Shallow. Welcome to On the Ball here at WinFM 98.9.
Troy, good evening. I think you're renaming me, man. You're mixing me up with some Keith instead of Kishore. But that is fine. All good on my end. Hope you're fine as well. Pleasure being on the program, and good evening to all your listeners.
Yes, indeed. My apologies, Dr. Kishore Shallow. I am blessed, highly favored, giving thanks. And thank you for taking the invitation to be with us here at WinFM 98.9. I appreciate the fact that when we approached you while you were here in St. Kitts, you did indicate that you had a busy schedule. You couldn't make it. But when you get back, you would have been available. You would make yourself available for tonight. And we appreciate that. And it's a tremendous honor to have you here, sir. But tell us,
No, man. Pleasure is mine.
Who is Dr. Kishore Shallow? Tell us something about you, sir.
Passionate about cricket. Intention. Consider myself a regionalist. Background in financial management. And I think that's it. My profile is quite accessible, and I enjoy. I'm not one to enjoy speaking about myself, but I'm like I said, I've always been quite passionate about cricket. I've played cricket, been in administration of cricket in the region for the last approaching to 11, 12 years. Actually, a little more than that. Been on West Indies as a director from 2017. Was the vice president from 2019 to 2023 with Ricky Skerritt, your very own, who was the president then. And since 2023 March, I've been the president of Cricket West Indies.
We congratulate you, sir, on being elevated to that position. I don't believe it's an easy task, but we'll talk a little bit about that a little later. But what caused you to get into cricket? Why not football or basketball? Why cricket?
I'm a sports enthusiast, so I follow different sports. I actually enjoy playing football. I played it quite a lot when I was younger, but cricket has always been my passion. I grew up like so many other West Indians, enjoying us dominating the world of cricket, enjoying the game with my family. Naturally, I think that I just gravitated to cricket, and so I played a lot of cricket. I played up to regional level, Windward Islands level at youth. I also was part of that combined campuses team, combined and colleges team in 2002. That was the very first time they entered the regional competition, Red Stripe Bowl at the time in Jamaica. And I just played, and all I ever wanted to do was to play international cricket. When that didn't appear to be manifesting in the way that I wanted to, at the pace I wanted to, I got the invitation to become an administrator, because even in my playing days, I used to always find it very interesting to observe cricket meetings, annual general meetings, and so on. So being so involved, a few seniors thought that maybe I should come on board, certainly with my academic qualifications at the time, to be an executive member. And so I joined the St. Vincent and Grenadines Cricket Association maybe when I was about 25, 26, as an assistant secretary. And 2 years later, I had the option of choosing whether to continue playing or to become the president of the SVG Cricket Association. And I thought that at that stage of my life, I would have had a much greater impact as an administrator than a player. And so I chose that path. And since then, I've served as Windward Islands president and, different levels at Cricket West Indies as well. And I must say that I'm quite happy with the choice of being in administration. I think that Cricket West Indies, West Indies cricket mean so much to so many across the world. And being in a position where I could have that positive influence and contribute to West Indies cricket being a dominant force in world cricket, and the tremendous impact it has on the region and our people across the globe as well. I'm quite happy with the choice of becoming an administrator.
That seems quite interesting, sir. And it seems an easy fit, easy elevation. You're approached.
Well,
Sorry,
now go on.
you're approached to be a candidate, vice president for Cricket West Indies. How easy was it a decision for you to say yes? Did you have any concerns? Did you have to think and wait, discuss it a little while and wait and think about it, or how easy was it really?
I'm always one to, say I believe in destiny, and I believe that things happen when it should at the right time and so on. And when I was approached to consider the position alongside Ricky Skerritt, who at the time was considering becoming the president as well, and he too was approached by a few similar individuals, and it's something that we both thought is it was an important juncture in West Indies cricket. We had to ensure that we would get the support of the shareholders and, of course, our family, because this job is quite demanding, right? And so once I think we ticked those boxes, it was never a case of whether we wanted to serve or not. It was just simply if we had the time to commit and if we had the support of the key persons and really stakeholders in the game. And we got the support. We were encouraged to, take up the leadership. And I think Ricky and I certainly enjoyed a very good partnership over the last 4 years. Well, from 2019 to 2023. That 4-year period as vice president definitely set the tone for me. It was a great transition between Ricky and myself, who up to this day enjoy a very good relationship. And I think that certainly helped me to hit the ground running as president as well, having been there, having the insight of West Indies cricket and the whole administration, getting insight as well from Ricky on the global scale from when he attended ICC meetings. And so I was able to sort of, transition really well, I believe. And, the time is certainly ticking quickly, but I think we are making tremendous progress. Certainly 1 year in the job. But the what we have achieved so far was only possible has only been possible because of the fact that I've been there, for 4 years as vice president and probably a couple of years before as a director.
From what we were hearing outside, it seemed a monumental task of both of you being elected, because we were hearing that it was the Windward Islands cricket and perhaps Leeward, they were the only two, and it needed to take some convincing, and obviously your team won. Your team, Ricky and yourself, would have won. How difficult was it to convince those other units to support yourself and Ricky?
I mean, it's politics, and there's always that, sort of tension, and, everyone wants to win. So we had some challengers initially who, put on a very good campaign as well. And, it was just good to see a democratic process play out, and that there are different persons who have that sort of interest in leading West Indies cricket. Because, like you said, Troy, it's not an easy task, right? Your reputation is at stake. Your time with your family is at stake. And there's just so much. Cricket West Indies, I mean, where we're coming from as a dominant team in the 70s or the 80s, right? Even late 80s actually. And where our cricket is, let's say, for the last 2 decades plus, right? It is not an easy task, a scope of work by any means. And to have persons really trying to step forward for the right reasons, that I think was quite encouraging. But we managed to gain the support of the key persons at the time, which were the shareholders. And, I think we worked pretty well with them. We were hit by a difficult period, probably the most difficult time in our lifetime, certainly the COVID period.
Indeed.
We came through that, I suspect, with onwards with flying colors when you consider all the dynamics during that period. We didn't lay off a single individual, a single worker. Our finances were stabilized. We were the very first cricketing nation to tour when we went to England at the time, and we received quite a lot of praise and credit for that. Returning cricket on the screens around the world. So I think we were, again, going back to what I said earlier about destiny. It was just the right time, stable, sure-footed leadership. And, I think we are at a point now where we could say that we are building on what is, solid foundation and really quite poised to accelerate and advance the growth of cricket in the region.
And that COVID period, no one, any part of the world would have been spared by it. And some countries, some sporting fraternities would have recovered much quicker than others. And we commend you for that. As Vice President, what would you say were your main achievements?
It was we had during a period, like I said, COVID period, where we had to ensure that stakeholders and especially shareholders who were key decision makers understood exactly what we were doing and trying to achieve. We had to ensure that they understood, the context in which we took over the dispensation, the leadership at the time. And I think I played quite a critical role in harmonizing everyone at the time, ensuring that all the board members understood the assignment. Ricky came with a lot more experience than I did, of course, because he had served as a minister in St. Kitts and manager of West Indies team and so on. And he came with his plans, and it was my duty as the vice president to support him. And I'm sure if you ask him whenever you get a chance, he would, attest that he received tremendous support from myself. And together, I think we were a very great team. Again, it's just difficult to judge because of COVID and so on, and because of the state we actually met Cricket West Indies in, particularly our finances, right? It was in a deplorable state. There was some key personnel that needed shifting as well. So we had to ensure we managed that well without it having a sort of financial or legal implication for the organization. And so that was one thing off the field. Closer to the cricket, I was tasked with, revising our selection system, making it more transparent, making it able to stand up to scrutiny, a more comprehensive system, because we didn't have a selection policy in place. And we now have that policy. We have revised that policy since, and we continue to look at ways of evolving our selection system. And there were other areas that I was tasked with, different committees and so on, HR management and so on, that I was very involved in. And again, I think it was just being there at the right time. And what that 4 years did more than anything else is prepare me. It prepared me for this period of actual, the office of the president. And I think that, like I said before, destiny, everything happened exactly how it's meant to happen, Troy. And I'm quite pleased with where we are now, being quite ready to make critical decisions. And I would say that 1 year into the job, because I think within a week or so would be 1 year since I'm in the job. I think we have made remarkable strides.
Indeed, and congratulations. I noted that, and congratulations for that. Selection, that has always been a concern throughout the West Indies. Who should make it and who shouldn't make it? And if you were to visit any bar shop, domino table, you will probably hear of the few names from St. Kitts that we believe, Kittitians believe, should have made it. The Luther Kellys, the Victor Eddies, the Livingston Harrises, just to name a few. You did mention that there is a selection policy which has been revived. For persons who may not know, is this a public document? And if so, how could one go about getting a copy of it?
It's only accessible in the public. I can't remember if it's currently sits on our website, but it is certainly accessible if you Google it. Because we would have published it at the time when it was when it got the approval from the board. But selection is a very sensitive matter. It's probably the most sensitive area in cricket because everyone has an opinion on who should be in the starting 11 of any team, right? And sometimes it may be just an argument around one person. So we could probably sit here and select a team, you and I, Troy, and we may come up with the first 10 the very same. And then the last player.
Indeed.
There's a debate over, whether we go with this person who is, probably less experienced, this person who is showing some form, maybe thinking of the actual condition, whether we play a spinner versus a fast bowler, and it is always quite difficult for everyone to come to an agreement. What I think is critical in selection, and this is what we thought when we decide to look at our selection system and establish a selection policy, is to have something that can stand up to scrutiny so that when these fans and the players and whoever other stakeholders involved are observing, when they zoom into the selections of the teams, they could say, well, I don't necessarily agree with this particular player, but I could understand the rationale. Or I appreciate that it is not because of insularity, right? And these are the different dynamics and factors considered when we revise the selection policy. And the selection panels, they have the selection policies advising them and how they go about selecting players to justify these selections. They also have in that document a communication protocol. So who communicates with the players, what is communicated with the players, and so on. So it was a comprehensive document, but like I said, it is critical that we always look and revise our systems to ensure that, we have the best practices. So this document was established, I think, in 2019, 2020. We revised it, I think, just after the pandemic. We are at a point now where our relatively new directive cricket is in the process of reviewing the selection system again because cricket is evolving and we have to evolve with it. I think one of the problems with West Indies cricket over the years, and this dated back to the 1970s and 80s, is that when we were dominating cricket, we never pause and consider that, other teams are going to catch up with us. Hence, our test team has dominated world cricket. We are no longer anywhere close to that status. Our ODI team, we won the first two, won the international World Cups.
Yes.
We are almost at the bottom of our game, failing to qualify in the World Cup last year. And our T20, we are still, I think, the only team that has won 2 T20 World Cups, right? Yet we are, at least we went through a very difficult time again. We probably nowhere close. It's only recently we are considered to be one of the top teams in T20 again. So we have to always remember that while we are, achieving enjoying success, we have to try and evolve, look at those systems, find a way to improve because other teams are always, quite consistent and looking to improve as well.
You're listening to On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9. Our guest is Dr. Kishore Shallow, President of Cricket West Indies. You're invited to call in 466-0989, or if you're not in a position to call, you could actually WhatsApp me 668-2055, and of course, if you're calling from overseas without outside St. Kitts and Nevis, you'll prefix that with 1869. You are the Vice President. You're now considering the presidency. How confident were you going into that new phase that you would have been selected as President of Cricket West Indies?
Well, it was a case where again, similar to in 2019 when I consulted with the other shareholders and the directors about their support. In 2023, I did something quite similar. I would have been more familiar with the directors at that stage. And so I went into the elections quite confident. And in the end, it turned out that I was unopposed. So it was still, consulting and ensuring that everyone understood my philosophy as a leader. I think spending time with the directors over the years, they understood me and they had that confidence in me that, at this particular time in West Indies cricket, I would be able to have a positive impact. So, I don't take that slightly. I don't take it for granted that I got the confidence of the directors. I'm someone who believes in an inclusive environment. That is generally my philosophy as a leader. And I continue to consult not only with the directors and shareholders, but also with the wider stakeholders out there, the governments, players, management, employees, and even fans, and past players, past administrators, and everyone. Just try to understand and appreciate, the mindset and the attitude. And as I quite often say, find those opportunities to improve, right? And one thing you would always say, Mr. Choi, and I sincerely believe it, is that no one individual is going to transform West Indies cricket. It has to be done with, a shared sort of collective effort, right?
Indeed.
Common sort of attitude and approach and an understanding. One thing for sure, we do have a lot of passion right across the region, a lot of fans, but you just need someone to sort of pull all those resources, harmonize the resources, and have us all, sort of channeling our energy in one direction, one particular direction. And I think that, if we could achieve some level of that, some degree of success in regards to, getting all of us in the region to move in the right direction, getting the governments on board, getting the players to understand, getting the fans to be a little bit patient with us, understand that we need a little time for development and so on, then I think we're going to certainly enjoy a lot more success in the near future and, over a longer period of time as well.
You just mentioned, well, only you mentioned stakeholders and the government, the governments in the CARICOM region. Obviously, they are key stakeholders. How is that relationship?
And just before I answer that question, because I use the word quite a lot so far, shareholders. So the shareholders of Cricket West Indies are the territorial boards. That is Leeward Islands, Global Islands, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad, and Tobago, and Jamaica. Those are the six shareholders, right? Now, these stakeholders, every single one of us who follow the cricket, contribute to the cricket, participate in the cricket, and the governments fall under the stakeholders category. They are absolutely critical because they are the ones who own majority of the facilities in the region that we consume on a daily basis for cricket. So when we host international matches, when we host regional matches, the governments are the ones who are involved in those. They have those facilities, Warner Park, Connery, and so on, and St. Kitts. And throughout the region, that is how it is. The governments own them. And they also have a vested interest otherwise. They understand what West Indies cricket means to the region, what it means to Black people. And they want to see West Indies cricket successful. Most of our leaders, if not all, grew up enjoying the Clive Lloyd era, right? And you saw Vivian Richards era, right? And so they want to ensure that the upcoming generations, right, are able to enjoy this product as well, this representation of West Indies cricket. And so they are key stakeholders. Right around the corner, we have the World Cup T20, the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in June. And there are massive investments being made right across the region. I'm quite sensitive to the fact that there are not matches, World Cup matches that being played will be played in St. Kitts and Nevis. But there's quite a significant number of matches and tournaments and cricket being played or have been played this year, will be played later this year and going forward. We are actually in the process over the next few days. In fact, on Friday, we have our board meeting, CWI board meeting, and on Saturday, we have our annual general meeting. And by the end of this week, we expect that we're going to finalize our fixtures for the next 4 years, and you'll see St. Kitts and Nevis featuring quite a lot on our fixtures for the next cycle. But it is a tremendous opportunity for the region because we are going to see improved facilities across the region. That is playing facilities, training facilities as a legacy of the World Cup. And there are obviously economic benefits and so on. That the entire region, not only these six host countries, but the entire region going to benefit. When tourists come to the Caribbean, any of the islands, we sell the other islands as well because we are all very similar. And so we expect that, at the conclusion of the World Cup, the Caribbean is certainly going to be in a better place in terms of, tourism and after such a brilliant job of marketing the Caribbean, and certainly with regards to, people coming to the region or tourism is expected to grow after the completion of the tournament in June. So wonderful times ahead for the Caribbean, Troy.
Thank you for explaining that, Doc. We have a first caller on the line. Caller, good night. Welcome to On the Ball. You're live.
Hello.
Good night, caller. Welcome to On the Ball, live on Winifred 98.9.
Yes, good evening, and good evening to your very distinguished guest, the president of West Indies Cricket. Good evening to you, sir. Hello? Are you hearing me?
I would just, yeah, but I'm hearing you. I was just saying good evening to you as well.
Oh, okay. Yes, this is Eustace Maynard, cricket commentator. Sometimes I join Troy in the studio, but when Troy told me that you will be joining him this evening, I was very, very happy and proud to know that this excellent program would be graced with your presence and your knowledge and expertise, and we really were looking forward for this very important discussion. And you would have said a mouthful, and it don't matter how much time is available, you will never have enough time to discuss all the issues when it comes to West Indies cricket. But we just have to deal with whatever time we have tonight, and we'll be definitely looking forward and would be happy to have you another time around. I just wanted to get into a few things quickly. I just wanted to share your vision in terms of where you would want the West Indies cricket to be when you leave this very important position which you would have served before, which you rightfully mentioned in reference to the vice president, and now you are in the hot seat, the man who is large and in charge, and I personally think who would have done an excellent job so far, and would want to wish you all the best of the rest of your tenure. So I would want you to mention in terms of your vision where you would want West Indies cricket to be, the position you would want West Indies cricket to be when you would leave, and you can probably maybe give some insight in terms of when you started, what the position was like compared to now, and also you would have realized that the leewards and windwards are leading the table in terms of the first-class competition, the 4-day competition, and we are very proud in this part of the Caribbean and also for the windwards. And so I would want you to maybe probably comment in reference to these two particular teams, and and what you think in terms of their position, their future, their players. Maybe you can comment in terms of whether it's a captaincy, the combination of these two particular team, because you would have realized that in the leagues you have, which I considered, that definitely a future West Indies opening batsman, and I'll be very disappointed if he's not on the way to England. Kyle Lewis, who would have scored those 2 brilliant hundreds here in St. Kitts against Guyana, is definitely a very, very special player. And these type of players, I personally believe, deserve to be given the opportunity to excel and to apply their trade, their craft, and to develop their excellent skills. So I am looking forward for Desmond Haynes to call it right. I also would want you to mention in reference to the position with Darren Bravo, because he would have scored the most runs, and unfortunately I heard coming from the chairman of selectors that Bravo, in terms of his age, looking at the World Cup at 34, he believed that he was not perhaps the person to invest in. But if you are going to dominate a tournament, being the best in the tournament, best in your class, because Desmond Haynes finished at 38 and he still wanted more time to play. Well, Bravo is still far from 38, and it was just unfortunate that this special talent, were not given the opportunity to play for his country and represent his people. And lastly, I want you to maybe give some update in terms of your vision or your opinion in reference to the upcoming World Cup, which would be held hosted in the Caribbean, and I think also with America. What are your impression in terms of the preparation? You can give some update on what you expect of the West Indies team, which, as you rightfully mentioned, has improved gradually over the last perhaps couple months. And, we are playing at home, so we are in our backyard. Should be in terms of familiar with our conditions, and when you are familiar with your condition, you are in a position to execute these conditions. So I would just want you to give some comments in reference to the upcoming World Cup, and and to answer these questions. I perhaps will leave it there, and if I have to come back, then I would join again. But looking forward for your comments.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much, Useless.
yeah, Minad, I'm going to try and answer questions long before the program finishes. Right, it's a lot. I'll touch on the Darren Brower one first because that's probably the quickest one. It's selection. Sometimes you get selected, and you don't. As a player, you just have to keep pushing your case to be selected. Darren Barber was since considered for, I think, one of the following tours. I think it was the Test series. And I think you're well aware that he has made himself unavailable since not being selected for the whatever series that was, I think the ODIs. And he remains unavailable up to this point. So probably, doesn't have much value to the program to elaborate on that. In terms of leewards and windwards, and I could answer that question by probably coupling it with the first question you asked about what do I intend to achieve at the end of my tenure, right? Now, as you're aware as well, I suspect you are aware as a passionate and fervent follower of cricket, that I was the president of Windward Islands Cricket Board. And after debated in that position, what I've seen is a continued growth in Windward's cricket, right? And the issue is in cricket and sports generally, or even in governments, is that leaders believe that they have to realize the achieve certain results while you're in office. And so they're forced to make short-term decisions, and it quite often retards the progress of the organization. But when you're looking to be re-elected in positions, I could understand why that may happen. Now, in my case, I have totally accepted and understand that a consistent West Indies team in world cricket is unlikely to happen under my tenure, right? But what I want is that following my tenure as the president of Cricket West Indies, for our systems to be more robust, our infrastructure to be much improved. And I guarantee you, if during my tenure I'm able to realize those things, then we are going to be far better off in coming years, right? And so I believe, and with very little bias, that partly responsible for what we are seeing now in Windward's cricket is based on what we achieved as a dispensation for the last 4 to 6 years, right? By putting those systems in place. I recall when we were telling our players, and it was difficult to get the buy-in from them about investing in their time, hard work, turning up every day as professionals, putting in the system in place, investing in coaches, right? We brought in coaches from outside of the region. We brought in players from outside of the Windward Islands, right? And made those hard investments, right? And critical decisions. And then you're seeing far greater consistency from the players now. Now, if we could achieve this at the West Indies level as well, right? Whether I'm there or not, I suspect that West Indies is going to realize far greater success in the future, right? And that is generally my philosophy. Again, it is not about an individual, it's not about Kishore Shalom, but it is about how I'm able to ensure that there's a culture in West Indies cricket that is conducive to excellence and accountability. And if we could hold each other accountable and we could all, drive each other to be excellent at everything we do, on the field, off the field, then I think that is what it takes for us to be a more dominant force in world cricket. The last question, the World Cup preparation is going along smoothly. We're making good progress. Um, it's a massive undertaking, this World Cup. You're talking about 20 teams in the Caribbean, playing across the 6 islands plus the USA in 1 month. A lot of logistics, and so we're putting all those things into place. Um, Facilities are being improved. A lot of investments, like I mentioned earlier. Um, but things are taking shape. What I would say in terms of the potential of the World Cup, just to elaborate on that a bit, you know, we are going to have a chance that we probably won't in probably another 20 years to unlock revenue and economic opportunities for the region. We're talking about boosting tourism, establishing legacy projects, whether it is infrastructure or whether it is programs to inspire young players, young children getting involved in cricket. And we all know cricket is extremely commercialized these days. And this is not just for the players, but there's umpiring, there's scores, there's commentators, there's physios, fitness trainers, nutritionists. There's so many careers that now could be, it could be achieved from cricket that we have to ensure that kids are exposed, young boys and girls are exposed to these opportunities so that in coming years we have more, professionals involved and benefiting from cricket. So again, this World Cup is a remarkable opportunity for the entire region.
Thank you. Thank you very much for answering that. Dr. Shallow. We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to On the Ball here at Twin FM 98.9.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Dr. Shala. How are you? Are you guys
good evening. I'm good. Thanks.
Just want to make sure I got a good connection here.
Yes,
hello?
We're hearing you loud and clear.
I'm hearing you perfectly.
Good. Yeah, Dr. Shala. Calvin James here. I will say former match referee, Leeward Islands, St. Kitts. Played a lot of cricket in Canada. Dr. Shall, I really want to welcome you here. I believe this is the first time you're on radio in St. Kitts. And I think this is a good time to welcome you on radio because we need much more of that in the sense of communication about cricket here in St. Kitts. We don't have much of that happening communication-wise in radio and through the membership. But one of the couple of questions that I have for you this evening, Dr. Shelley, is that it's regarding basically looking at the selection committee at this time. I believe I understand that there were some movements in moving or the contracts were not extended or continued by two of the selectors. I was wondering if there is any replacement of those selectors other than our learned former test player, Dr.
Desmond Haynes.
Dr. Haynes, yeah. So do we have any other selectors that
what we have established now is selection panels for our men's teams. That is ODI, Test, and T20. We also have a women's panel, which is the ODI and the T20, because we don't play Test currently for women. And then we have a youth panel, right? The composition of those panels is the lead selector, which is in the case of the men, Desmond Haynes. In the case of the women, Anne Brown John. And in the case of the juniors, we have the coach, the head coach, which is Rohan Noss. So the composition, in addition to those lead selectors, you have the head coach, and they consult with the captains of the respective teams.
Is that information though circulated throughout the territories or through the respective associations? Like, we don't know of this. This information is not forthcoming through LECO, for an example, or maybe through the local organization. You know, so I believe it might be useful just to kind of get that information across.
I'll be surprised. I'll be quite surprised if the territorial boards or the national associations, they don't have that information, because what have been implemented throughout the last few months, and particularly in St. Kitts, you have seen a couple of persons there, a scout watching the games, because every game, so despite there's only a lead selector on a panel and the coach may be engaged elsewhere, you know, we have eyes on every single regional match, right? And so what we do, we utilize scouts. Some are local, and in some cases we fly persons across the region. But we want to ensure that all our regional matches are seen by our selectors, not only via stream or TV.
Not cutting you off, but that's a very good idea. It's just a matter that I think communication is paramount, you know, Dr. Shallow, right? And that is the one key problem that I find is the single most difficult problem we have in our particular association, our region. We don't have the communication between the communities and the membership of the association, that the people don't know. And I think that is one of the problems you find cricket is not as advertised or as more activities happening within cricket. And I like to encourage that, especially through you. Maybe more information needs to be passed down to the respective territories and down to the associations. Because, you know, when the membership is not being informed, a lot of rumors go out there. People feel there's nothing happening. You know what I mean? And this is some of the problems that I've identified. You know, just looking at it from outside, especially playing cricket overseas and that kind of stuff. Canada, even though Canada is not a real cricketing nation, but I played a lot of cricket in Western Canada and stuff like that, and I traveled around a lot. And I realized that that's one of the big problems I've identified here. You know, and that seems to be another problem I would like to ask of you. This in regard to the funding that is distributed among the territories for the regional games, like Leeward Islands games, Windward Islands games, and the Big Four, right? Is there any funds coming to you from Cricket West Indies to help to facilitate those games? And the reason why I ask that, actually, is because, for an example, Leeward Islands has the most sovereign countries that make up the Leeward Islands. And that creates a financial problem in traveling among the islands to play cricket amongst ourselves or to host cricket in a respective island. And I asked that to one of your former president here, Mr. Cameron, before, and I never did get an answer. I was just wondering if there's any way that we could facilitate that and maybe look at it from a different perspective. You being from the Windwards, where you have 4 islands playing against each other, and we here in the Leewards, we have about 7 or 8 islands playing against each other, one of which is U.S. So anybody from the other British islands would have to go to Barbados to get a visa to go to St. Thomas to play cricket. And that's a cost. And the airfare between St. Kitts and maybe Antigua or St. Martin is astronomical. And that, to me, is something that I haven't heard it being really considered within the region to address that matter, or to even have a holistic fundraising activity for that matter. Coming through from legal, coming through down to the association to say, let's raise some funds. What are the fundraising plans going into cricket? You know what I mean? How we could involve the schools more in cricket development. What programs are in place? You know, these kind of things, I believe, is something that I have identified to be one or two of the single most challenging problems that we have here that limits the progress for cricket, you know, especially on the junior level. You know what I mean? We must have collaboration. We must work with the schools. We must work with Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Education. We must see a program out there that the people can see, the people could get involved. And that is something that I really wanted to highlight tonight that is very, very critical in my view, in looking at the development of cricket. You know, that is something that really need to really pay attention to, Dr. Shah. I will go on to my next point quickly and then allow you to respond.
Yes, thank you, caller. Because we'll need to give Dr.
Okay.
Shala enough time to address your questions.
All right, no problem. Yeah. I'll close at that then. I'll get back in if need be. Thanks.
Thank you very much, caller. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Dr. Shallow?
Yeah, thanks, Calvin. And in terms of development, CWI funds, you know, the territorial boards, you know, provide them with a subvention, quite lucrative as well. But I take the point where Leeward Islands and Middle Islands, especially, they are unique cases, right, for both of them. They're unique relative to the other islands, countries in the case of Guyana, right? And President of Leeward Islands Cricket Board, Mr. Enoch Lewis, he has been advocating for this for many years, and I think he has put it back on the table again to be reconsidered, right? And the situation is just as you rightly said there, Calvin. You know, you're talking about in Leeward's 8 islands, in the Windward Islands, you have 4 islands, and every time you are preparing for a tournament, let's say you're preparing for under 15 or under 19, both boys and girls, you have to bring players together, right? You have to either host a tournament or you have a camp, right? And it's tremendous cost attached to both because you have to, one, fly players, you have to put them up in probably hotels, you have to provide catering, and there are other expenses that are attached to it. So it's unique for Windward and Leeward, and I believe that Cricket West Indies are currently considering, how we could help Leeward Islands and Windward Islands to address that situation. There's absolutely no doubt that all countries in the region, the 6 territorial boards, the 6 territories must be strong and robust in order for us to have a very competitive West Indies team. I don't like you told me use all your big 4, right? In fact, it's not a fact in any way because some of those islands are actually smaller than even some in the Windwards and the Leeward Islands, right? Certainly in the Windward Islands. So I just think that we need to understand the unique situation across the board from a Cricket West Indies perspective and manage it accordingly. What I would say is that in addition to the subvention for development of cricket in the territories, we also have the franchise system, which is really catering for the men professional system. We just about introduced the emerging programs for both male and female. But the franchise system for men is probably certainly one of our biggest expenditure on our accounts, right? Whereas we spend $400,000 US per month, right? to facilitate the franchise system, and all that money it goes to the 6 territorial teams, which are the franchise team. In your case, the Leeward Islands Hurricane, Windward Island Volcanoes, Pride, and the other 3. So a lot of money being spent, but we have to find a way where we continue the development of the cricket across the region. And this development I'm speaking about is from the grassroots come right up, because development in cricket never stops. And this has to be done for both male and female equally. And you would notice that recently we introduced quite a few policies to ensure that our young female cricketers and senior cricketers are not left behind. So we are targeting equal payments across the board for females by 2027. We just introduced or signed our MOU with WIPA, West Indies Players Association. We are also in the process of finalizing our MOU with WICWAM, the West Indies Cricket Umpires Association, where we want to incentivize the umpires in the female game. So, for example, the female tournament that is taking place in Finkits currently, right? Previously, those umpires get significantly less than for the men's tournament, right? What we are saying now is that we want the best umpires, officials in the women's game or women's tournament, like we do in the men's tournament, whether the original first class, 50 overs, or even CPL, right? So more equity across the board for both male and female. And it just addressing all these different areas and factors and dynamics in cricket. We can't leave any stone unturned. It must be a holistic development across the board.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shallow. And indeed, I was going to ask you, you touched it, about the equity in pay for the males, narrowing the gender gap with the females. Another point you would have had would have been the first class, traveling first class with the females. And in addition, come the 1st of October, 6 females from each of the 6 franchises playing will be contracted. So I think those are tremendous moves. And I know you would have, the Cricket West Indies would have had a youth camp in Antigua. And our very own Jazara Claxton from St. Kitts and Nevis, she would have attended, and she's part of the Leeward Islands team in this current tournament, and she would have played for the Barbados Royals in last year's CPL. So we appreciate that. And in terms of the youth, I know the youth would have participated in the West Indies 19, but any other programs for the under 15s, 17s, perhaps under 13s?
People don't realize how much cricket is played in the West Indies. You'll be amazed if you see our entire calendar for one calendar year, right? So, you're talking about under 15 tournament, you have under 17 tournament, those are for boys, then you have under 19 tournament for boys and girls. You have the first class season for men. You have, your Super 50 for men. You have the Super 50 Anti-20 for women, and then you have obviously CPL. In addition to those, we have the emerging teams which play, 18 on emerging games. You have camps. It is a 12-month program, very, very comprehensive. So players are engaged throughout the year. One of the difficult or one of the challenges now is actually to find windows for our players to actually get downtime, with a vacation, or even for them to just go and participate in different leagues outside of the Caribbean. But it's exciting because you have the players engaged. At the end of the day, it is a very cricket is a 10 to 15-year career, and you want them to play as much cricket during that period as possible while monetizing as well on their talents and skills. So we just have to ensure we find the right balance, manage the workload of our players, ensure that the development pathways is conducive to us producing or providing the world with the best players, people more Shamar Joseph and the in Test cricket, and the Nicholas Puran in T20, and the Sheikh Hope in 50 overs, and the women's case. We want to produce obviously more Haley Matthews. So we are on par, on the right path to creating these players. We understand what the assignment is, what is demanded of West Indies cricket to do well. I'm quite pleased with the personnel we have, you know, at the secretariat and in the Indian room working, leading our cricket match, Bascom. He has introduced quite some new initiatives. Your other staff who are working behind the scenes and doing a tremendous job as well. And again, we don't expect, you know, dominance or consistent success overnight because it really takes a long period for these things to manifest and go into our system and so on to be robust. And of course, we need our infrastructure as well to be developing and improving at the same pace because our players need to be training at the best facilities in the Caribbean, not only when they travel to Australia or England or India. So there are all these different components that we are tackling simultaneously. And I suspect once we're able to do it at a relatively good pace across the board, we are going to realize success, consistent success much sooner than we probably think. And certainly, hopefully, that when we do get there, it won't be like the 80s glory days again, where we come back to these days of quandary and so on. But we are able to sustain it. Because that I think is critical. Whatever we implement now and whatever success we achieve, it must be sustainable.
Quite a mouthful indeed, Dr. Shallow. And we thank you very much for availing yourself to be here with us on the ball. There are a few calls coming in, but unfortunately we wouldn't be able to get them. We are actually over time, as it were. And I congratulate you, Dr. Shallow, on the fact that you mentioned your AGM is coming up, and that would be 1 year since you would have been in office as president of Cricket West Indies. So congratulations to you and your team working. And any last words you'll want to part with, sir?
Well, I mean, it's not for me to accept the congratulations unless I'm doing so on behalf of all the others. Because again, this is not about me. I'm only the president. There's a team of people who work tremendously hard at West Indies cricket. Whether it is at the secretariat in Antigua, those coaches across the region, the territorial board level, and of course the players, and so many others who contribute. Our governments also. What I would like is first of all understand our role, and I think there's a symposium organized by CARICOM or being organized by CARICOM next month in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think that is going to be a very important forum for us to discuss West Indies cricket and for us as a region, as stakeholders, to understand the role we could play in improving West Indies cricket. So maybe the next time I come on the program, we could talk about that symposium and other potential initiatives that we could collaborate on to improve West Indies cricket. But Troy, thanks for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure talking about cricket.
I appreciate it, sir. And of course, well, we cannot have just a part one with the president of Cricket West Indies. So at an opportune time and agreed time in future, we'll invite you back to be on the program here at Win FM 98.9 on the ball. It has been indeed a pleasure, sir, meeting you in person while you were here and also speaking with you online. And we thank you very much for availing yourself. And congratulations on the work you have been doing and the best wishes for what you will continue to do for Cricket West Indies and the Caribbean countries. Thank you very much again, sir. Have a good night and be safe.
Thanks. Take care, Troy.
You've been listening to On the Ball here at Win FM 98.9 with our esteemed guest, Dr. Kishore Shallow, president of Cricket West Indies. I thank him very much for being a part of the program tonight and for gracing us with his presence. It was indeed a tremendous honor, pleasure, and an enjoyment to have him here with us, clarifying some questions, some issues. And for those persons who were calling in, unfortunately, we weren't able to get those because we are out of time. And I thank you nonetheless. And you could perhaps WhatsApp me, and I'll be able to discuss with Dr. Shallow if he'll be willing to accept them and answer, which I believe he will. So I thank you very much for listening. I invite you to tune in to the next edition of On the Ball next week, Tuesday, God's Spear, from 7 to 9 p.m. right here on Win FM 98.9. And we are also inviting you to come on board and sponsor the program. Please call 466-9586. Our marketing department will be glad to sit down and work out a package for you. Or you can WhatsApp me 668-2055. I am Troy Biff Mills. Thank you very much. And as I slip away, please be safe, have a good night, and always be positive in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. Have a good night.